the tricky part of the Calabash Bowl. Because your rim,
The brown one works.
the rim is curved. So you've actually got to undercut this thing. So if you're careful with your bowl gouge, you can do a little bit of an undercut. But there reaches a certain point where you cannot do it with the bowl gouge. It just, the shaft of the tool gets in the way if you're trying to make this curve. Okay? So this doesn't have a whole lot of curve to it, so I can probably get away with it. Or I can switch, I'm going to switch to this, this rounded tool, and I'll be able to get up under there and it won't be a problem at all.
The other thing to really watch, as watch how far he has to put the handle out to get the bevel
Right.
going in the right direction. Because now this is undercutting.
Can you zoom in on that? Can you guys see the bevel? I can.
Yeah.
Yes. So the direction the bevel's pointing is the direction the tool goes. So if I'm trying to square this off, I have the bevel pointed this way. If I'm trying to dig down into this, I've got to have the tool handle pointed out towards y'all. And getting new people to understand that is really hard. If you're trying to cut like this, it doesn't matter how hard you push on that tool or pull it, it will not cut because that cutting edge isn't touching the surface of the wood. So once you can get, where you're swinging the handle around, the tool works a whole lot better. And once you're riding the elbow, you gotta go. Problem that I run into, and it's not as bad as with a hollow vessel, because of the curve of this thing, it holds the shavings in. That's really pretty inside. Now, you remember on the outside, I was looking at the horizon. Well, as soon as you start cutting, the shavings build up by the tool. You actually need to look towards the other side of the bowl, and you can actually see where you're cutting. So see all the shavings?
He's aiming
You can see all the shavings right around the outside of the rim.
Yeah, like crazy.
Yep. So with this bowl, I don't want a flat bottom in this thing. Okay? Actually, any bowl that I make, I don't want a flat bottom in it. Okay? It's hard to sand if you end up with a corner inside it it's really hard to sand, and it's hard to get it flat. So if you have that curve in it, even if it's not a real consistent curve, it still looks better than a bottom that's not exactly flat. It's less noticeable. So you're better off with some curve than trying to get it flat, okay? The other thing that people do is they'll end up with a little hump in the middle, and that's hard to get rid of. And it's tool control with a bowl gouge, or if you're going to use a tool like this, sweeping it through an arc, okay? And what I do is I'll hold my hand on the tool rest, and that's my pivot point, and then I can swing it through that arc, and I get a nice smooth bottom. And then you need to feel the middle of the piece to make sure that you don't have a hump or a little low spot, okay? So there's a lot of feeling involved. So I don't have to swing this tool as much as I did my other one because I've got a lot of surface here, okay? But with these scraping tools, this isn't a profile tool, so you're never going to use the whole cutting edge all at once. Okay, you only want to use a portion of it. Whole thing about these is you cut both directions. Can you see down in the?
It'll lose
Am I in the way?
focus. No, it'll lose focus if we zoom in
Oh, okay.
with it spinning.
Can you zoom in on my hand?
It may blur the whole thing because of what it was focused on. Try and see.
All right, that's fine. See how I'm holding the tool? I've got my finger up against the tool rest, and so that's my pivot point right there. Is where I'm holding the tool, and I'm using that to pivot, and that way I get a nice smooth curve all the way through the piece.
The tool's always parallel to the floor.
Yeah. So I'm holding the tool parallel to the floor, and I'm sweeping it through that arc. Now the other thing I want to do is I want a consistent wall thickness. And that'll reduce the chances of this thing breaking or cracking on me. Okay? That's true. So Michael Lee says, you know, the cracks, he fixes them with you've seen the little butterfly things? $75 a butterfly. So when I was there one time with him, he's like, oh yeah, you know, I could get 4 butterflies in that, so, you know. It's an extra $300 for that bowl. It's like, man, I'd like to get $300 for a bowl. So I haven't done anything with the rim yet. This is just the flat surface that I had. And my theory on the rim is if you're going to use it for food, or you're going to eat your Rice Krispies out of it. Actually, I like the Reese's Puffs. Have you guys had those? Yeah, that's my favorite cereal.
That's the great thing about having kids. You get to eat all that stuff.
Yeah. Lucky Charms are still good. But when you take your spoonful of cereal and milk out, if you drop any of the milk, with this thing being flat right now, it's just going to splash, and you're going to end up with milk all over the place. It's true. Come on, you're laughing. You know, right?
That's good wisdom.
If it curves out, then it's going to drain out. Run out on the table. So if you have it kind of curved in, it'll run back into the bowl, so you don't lose all that milk.
You know, I've heard the concept, but never the explanation.
Yeah.
You know? Now you know.
Never thought of that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna round this over, and I'm gonna have more of the rounded surface pointing in the bowl. And I'm just gonna use this tool, because I have it in my hand. Now here how that surface isn't level yet. So I'm just taking, a little light touch. I could sand that also. I could have sanded that, but it's so much quicker with the tool than with the sandpaper. And I'm pushing probably a little harder than I would normally because I want to make sure I have time. Jim doesn't want to stay here all night. What time is it?
It's 7 after.
Okay.
Over 5 minutes.
We're good. So that last time I felt the inside of the ball, it was a little thick right through here. So I'm just removing a little bit of that. It's still a little thick. And it's still a little thick right through this area right here, but it's close. So what I need to do now is I need to rough turn the bottom of this thing, or turn the bottom of it. I need to get the foot off. Normally I would sand the inside of this thing, but you guys don't need to watch me sand. I would sand the inside of this thing, and I would spray some finish on it, or whatever kind of finish I was going to use. And like if I was using, if this was something I was going to eat out of, I'd use a salad bowl finish or mineral oil or walnut oil, one of those oils. But I would put some on right now to kind of protect the piece, keep it from getting dirty. So we're not going to look too much at the inside. In my shop I have a vacuum chuck. So I put my vacuum chuck on, I would just stick this thing on, and I'd be good to go on the outside. If you don't have a vacuum chuck, you should get one. Those are really good. I really like my vacuum chuck.